Okay, folks, welcome back. Hopefully, you got through the vocabulary portion. Right now, I want to talk to you about the three major revolutions in human history. Again, this is just kind of a preview, kind of background knowledge for our unit on the two Americas, the Industrial Revolution being such a big part of driving the two Americas apart. And I just want to remind ourselves that a lot of this we'll know from last year in the 7th grade, that the Industrial Revolution is not just ho-hum any other revolution or change in human behavior. It's one of only three major changes, shifts in human behavior in the history of mankind. So it's not just any old change. So we'll try to do this quickly. I want to get through this in 5 minutes if possible. I'll keep this to one video. So feel free to kind of back it up, pause it if I'm moving a little too fast for you. And also, if you hear some snoring in the background, it's about 11:30 at night here at my house, and that's my bulldog Wheezy in the background, so I do apologize for that. So, all right, let's get this going. All right, three revolutions. All right, the first one being the agricultural revolution. We studied this at length last year in 7th grade. Guns, germs, and steel we talked about, right? Roughly 12,000 years ago, or 10,000 BC, people stopped hunting and gathering and started growing their own food. So what? Farming allowed people to have enough food, that food surplus we talked about last year, to support far bigger populations. Basically, without farming, we'd still be small bands of hunters and gatherers traveling in tribes of 30, 40, 50 people. Nomadic, be living maybe 30, 40 years at max. All right, so longer lifespans because of farming. Life as we know it will be impossible. All these different things, the different jobs we have, organized trade, great works of art and architecture, governments, religions, social class structures, writing, system of education, everything you see around you is a product of farming and the food surplus that we had. So farming was kind of a big deal, I like to say. So meanwhile, life on Earth remained more or less the same for thousands of years, between 10,000 years ago and about 200 years ago. I like to put it this way: the Egyptian pharaohs, 3000 BC, would recognize George Washington's plantation if they could travel in time into 1776, even though there's thousands of years in between there. Let's take a look. Right on the left we have an Egyptian depiction of farming with some cattle yoked to a plow. And on the right-hand side we have some reenactors, some modern-day reenactors, farming the way that people would have farmed on George Washington's plantation. Now, people on George Washington's plantation doing the work would have been slaves, so it's a little different, but you can see it's a pretty similar thing, even though we're separated by thousands of years. All right, if those Egyptian pharaohs visited in 1876 or 1976 in time travel, they would not recognize the societies they saw. So big change. So basically, what happened was the Industrial Revolution between 1750 and 1850 AD. Basically, people started building machines to do work for them. And guys, we'll talk much more in depth about this later, but we're just getting the basics right now. So basically, this is when people started using machines. Before the Industrial Revolution, the most powerful thing on earth were animals. So in America, that meant cattle, oxen. Maybe in India, someplace where they could, tame Indian elephants and use them to move logs or different things. Those would be the most powerful things on earth. So some examples here we have in the textile industry and the clothes making industry. Before, on the right hand side, we had a hand loom. It would have taken one craftsman hours and hours and hours and days to make single rolls of cloth. On the left we have a power loom run by water, and all those pulleys and things you see, all those open mechanisms that would be so dangerous, but that can make thousands of yards of cloth per day. Other examples would be steam power. So we have steamships and locomotives. So what? Everything we purchase today is made in a factory in 1750. Everything was handmade. Things travel became quicker and cheaper. Goods became cheaper and quicker. And the world's wealth and population has increased over and over and over again since 1800. All right, the digital revolution, we'll try to wrap this up quickly. It's basically the use of computers. This guy Claude Shannon figured out that ones and zeros could store all the information in the world in 1947. So everything, every picture, everything you have looks something like this in kind of the background. So today we have cell phones, instant communication, digital cameras, you name it. So those are the three major changes in human behavior.